Hey guys, welcome to Ian Reviews Sports. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E, as some of you know. Our SYP mascot, my God, Kazo, is taking part. Not anymore. We're going to be reviewing international rugby that happened this past week with a quick preview of the matches coming up on Wednesday. I am recording this. It's about noon Pacific on Tuesday. So by the time this video comes out, maybe people in Australia will see it so I can do a preview of their match on Wednesday. Should be great. Again, doing something a little bit different as well with the layout. I'm now in my living room on my couch. I think that was my dog. Pretty much, yeah. I'm just out here changing it up. Got the big board again. This took me a long time to make, actually. And it's not completely straight because I'm sitting on my couch, so it's not easily balanced. Again, I'll figure out the easel. I'll figure out a stand of some kind. So let's go through the results from this weekend's matches. First, in this top left corner, South Africa beat Georgia 40-9. First game for the Springboks since 2019. Georgia was leading 9-5 until the 30th minute. So Georgia obviously had a really good effort for the first 30 minutes of the game, and then the Springboks finally got into gear and started playing really well. 35 straight points for the Springboks. They won 40-9. You can't really be too upset if you're Georgia because you had 30 good minutes. You were winning in South Africa. And if you're the Springboks, you're probably a little bit concerned about the slow start, but you did win. It'll be interesting to see how the Springboks use these matches to get set for the British Irish Lions coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So that was the first test match on Friday. Saturday, Ireland took on Japan. Game of the weekend, I thought. Tremendous match from start to finish. Tough injury for Japan. Starting the game, Himeno, their eighth. He was out. He had a knee injury that he suffered, I believe, in warm up. So no Himeno for Japan. And Matsushima, he hurt himself, I believe, in a midair collision. Hurt his arm. He was out for the rest of the match as well. A couple tough losses for Japan. They really fell apart in the last 15 minutes of the game. I thought they were going to win it a few times. I thought they had enough to win it. Just too many penalties. Just collapsed in the last 15 minutes. And Ireland held on to win 39-31, but it was back and forth. It was tremendous action from start to finish. Van Flyer named man of the match for Ireland. Just really good stuff. I thought Japan looked really good after the Lions test match they had the weekend before. Ireland, this was their first match as a team. They're getting set up to play the U.S. on Saturday. And I thought that this went really well for them, for both teams, really. Even though Japan, you kind of want to win this game, you thought you should have won this game. I don't think there's any shame in how this team performed and how they played. They should have their heads held high after that performance. So Wales then played Canada at Principality Stadium in Cardiff, and that game was not close. It was 68-12. Wales over Canada. Wales came ready to play, and Canada was on. Canada was slow. Canada looked a bit out of shape. They were not prepared for the game at all. Like, now, granted, this was Canada's first match since the 2019 Rugby World Cup. They hadn't had any preparation, any matches beforehand. It was just training, and then you go and play Wales in Cardiff in front of 8,200 people. Yeah, that's not a terribly surprising result, all things considered. The most disappointing part of the match was Lee Halfpenny, who was playing in this 100 match. He was getting the 100 cap. He left with a knee injury. We'll talk about that later on during the video. Argentina played Romania. Fantastic game as well. Argentina beat Romania 24-17. A try in the 77th minute wins it for Argentina. Close game. They were up, I believe, 21-7 at one point, and Romania fought back, came close to at least ending a draw, but the late try for Argentina pushes them over. Great showing for Romania at home. They had quality matches in the Rugby Europe Championship. They get a really good match against a tier one team like Argentina. You can't be too upset. And you definitely want more of this. Romania is not a tier one team. They're a tier two team. Argentina is a tier one team. So when you get these tier 1, tier 2 battles that are close or start to finish, it's good. And especially when it happens in the tier 2 nation where you're still trying to grow the game, you're trying to get more people to come out and watch it, make it more accessible for fans. That's a great showing for Romania, and also a great showing for Argentina. I'll try and go chronological order. Ivory Coast over Namibia 24-13. That was a Rugby World Cup qualifying game for 2023. It was part of the 2021 Africa Cup. Biggest win for Ivory Coast in a long time. I couldn't even find recent games for them. So this is a bit of an upset. Namibia was a bit short-handed, I believe, with injuries. They didn't have a full set of players, and now they need to win on Wednesday. I'll go into that later on as well. But strong game in Africa for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. British Irish Lions 56, the Emirates Lions 19. Blowout by British and Irish Lions. Josh Adams with 4 tries. It was a great game for the Lions, getting their stars back like Itoje. I have it over here. Itoje, Russell, Hogg, Watson. You got your starters back. The team looked really good. The team looked really comfortable. No fans in attendance in Johannesburg, but excellent performance all around from the British Irish Lions. And a not totally surprising result for the Lions. They did not have a great year in the Rainbow Cup in South Africa's edition against all the club teams. They went like 1-1-4, 1 win, 1 draw, 4 losses. They were not great by any means. However, at least they got to play the Lions in South Africa, and you can't really be too upset with that. I mean, this is not a shocking result by any means. New Zealand beats Tonga 102-0. Blowout for the All Blacks. I think the spread was set at like 75.5 for New Zealand. Like nobody had Tonga even coming close in this match. 13 debuts for Tonga. That was part of the reason they had 13 debut players for them. Now that was just a test match for New Zealand, who they get to go play a couple of games against Fiji. And for Tonga, they now get to play 2-leg series against Samoa for their Rugby World Cup qualifying for 2023. The Maori All Blacks 38, Samoa 21. A bit of a closer game compared to last week's match where it was 35-7 for the All Blacks over Samoa. So better showing for Samoa, 21 points instead of 7. Maori All Blacks still playing great rugby. You can't be, upset. You still won 38-21, even though you gave up more points. You can't be upset. And a fun 2-game sort of series, I thought, between the Maori All Blacks and Samoa. I thought it was great for both sides to get this experience, to get this exposure, and I think there's a lot of takeaways both teams can take from these 2 games, especially Samoa, who they look to be the favorites right now against Tonga in the Oceania qualifying for the Rugby World Cup in 2023. England 43, US 29. Great start from England at home. Sam Underhill got a try. A couple other players got a try. 6 different players with tries for England altogether. And 2 tries in the final 10 minutes for the US. That's what makes the score 43-29. The Americans, it wasn't as bad as the Canadians, early on. It was still disappointing. They looked a bit out of shape. They looked like they were struggling a little bit. And then they finally pulled it together. They got 2 tries in the final 10 minutes, essentially. And, they make the score look more closer, look better than what it really was. I think there's maybe a little bit of concern for England and Eddie Jones maybe after a showing like this, but you still won. You're now going to be playing Canada on Saturday. So you should be able, if you go back to the Wales-Canada game, you should be able to beat Canada fairly easily, you would think. But good showing for the U.S., even in a loss like this. Good showing for England, even in a win like this. And then Uruguay beats the Argentina 15s, which is like the Argentina reserves guys who didn't go to Romania. who played Uruguay instead. Uruguay won 42-26 over Argentina. Big win for Uruguay at home. Their 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifying starts now after this win. And good results in South America all around, even though the Argentina second team is going to be disappointed by this. Uruguay still has the big win. They're getting some momentum, especially after the Fiji upset at the last World Cup. They're starting to get some momentum in South America. They're not quite at the same level that Argentina, that the main team is, but they're, putting up results like this against the second team in Argentina, which shows that they're a quality team, they're a quality squad. They're getting better all the time. Cazo came back and he licked some of my thoughts for the weekend, but Georgia had a good 30 minutes. Georgia had a great 30 minutes against the Springboks. I think that's something that you can be really happy for if you're Georgia. You played really good for 30 minutes against the defending champions, the best team in the world, arguably. Nothing to be ashamed of. You got to be happy about that. And everybody, I mentioned this last week. Eddie Jones, when they were playing Georgia in the Autumn Nations last fall, he mentioned that Georgia's not an easy matchup. They got big forwards. They're a tough squad up front. South Africa sort of figured that out by about, kickoff, really. And then they figured it out how to beat them and how to, manage them up front. So overall, great 30 minutes for Georgia. Even if the Springboks haven't played in almost 2 years, you got to be happy with that. I would think if you're Georgia. Great kicking matchup in the Japan-Ireland game. 86% kicking percentage for Joey Carberry. 82% kick percentage for Yuri Tamura. Yuri Tamura was the player of the game, I thought, for Japan. I thought he was fantastic from the beginning. He made plays all around with his beat. He was tremendous. He was leading Japan from start to finish, dragging them wherever he went, they went. That's what made this loss a little bit disappointing for Japan. So the fact that Tamura had such a great game and they still weren't able to capitalize. So tough luck for Japan and their 10, but good on Ireland and their 10, Joey Carberry, for just capitalizing on more opportunities. Lehigh happening. We'll miss the rest of the summer with knee surgery. Except for that in the Canada game, he's out for the rest of the summer. Possibly will be out for the fall as well. It's a tough look for Wales, who are already missing some of their best players because of the Lions games. So they got a couple matchups with Argentina in the next 2 weeks, I believe. They're going to be struggling, I would think, a little bit. Those matches might be closer than some people think, but who knows? Speaking of Argentina, they have 2 fun matchups with Wales in the next couple of weeks after the Romania win. I'm excited to see how Argentina does. Argentina had a good rugby championship last summer, fall. They had a solid performance again against Romania. It'll be interesting to see how well they do in Wales. Speaking of the British Irish Lions, notable difference in their lineup with the Stars. They didn't have all their stars in against Japan, but they put Itoje in. They had Finn Russell and Stuart Hogg, Hamish Watson in, and they looked noticeably better. Really good. Josh Adams, again, he had 4 tries. Louis Rees-Zammit, another guy, he had a noticeable impact on this team. It's again, that's what this team is about. I'm really excited to see how well they do against the Springboks. It should be some great rugby. Now that the Stars are getting in the camp, getting used to training, fun stuff. Again, I have Samoa. They should beat Tonga in the 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifying legs. Samoa looked better in the 2 games, especially the second game against the Maori All Blacks than Tonga did in their first game against New Zealand. I don't know how much of that you can actually take into consideration, considering they're playing the All Blacks with hardly any training or test matches beforehand. But I think Samoa will beat Tonga. That's my hot take. We'll see how that goes. But still, should be 2 quality matches regardless. Namibia needs to beat Madagascar on Wednesday to advance in the 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifying. That's coming after their loss to Ivory Coast. Again, they didn't have a full roster. They should have more guys back in the lineup on Wednesday. But Namibia needs to win or in this Rugby Cup match on Wednesday to keep going in the qualifying for the Rugby 2023 World Cup. Otherwise, they're out. And they've made every Rugby World Cup, I believe, since 1999. Like, they have a 20-plus year streak making the World Cup. So hopefully they can do that. Beat Madagascar on Wednesday. They should beat Madagascar and continue their streak. The All Blacks face a tough Fiji team next in some summer games. So I believe they have 2 matchups between the All Blacks and Fiji. The All Blacks should win all of them, but Fiji's not an easy out by any means. Should be competitive matches. Be sure to check out those if you get the opportunity to. Again, strong finish for the Americans against England on Sunday. Maybe slightly concerning for Eddie Jones in England. However, that's something that if that score at 43-29 is like that against Canada, I'd be even more concerned than I am now. I think the Americans are a much better team than Canada. It's just a matter of can England put it together for 80 minutes, which they didn't on Saturday. They got a bit comfortable. They got a bit cozy near the end, and that's why the Americans were able to get 2 tries and almost put up 30 points on England. 2023 Rugby World Cup South America team. So they're doing a triangular qualifying situation, I guess is what you want to call it. Uruguay will be playing Brazil, who beat Paraguay in that match over the weekend, and then Chile is also going to be the final team. They advanced due to COVID-19 cases in Colombia, as they had to cancel that game. Chile was supposed to play Colombia. Colombia had to cancel due to COVID, and as a result, Chile advances. So Brazil, Chile, and Uruguay will all be playing against one another in 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifying. The top team, most likely going to be Uruguay. They'll be facing the top team in North America in the North America 1 versus the South America 1. And the winner of that leg will be the America 1 team, which I believe is going to be in Group A for the upcoming Rugby World Cup. So there's your 2023 Rugby World Cup South Africa qualifying. And then finally, I'm going to do a quick preview of upcoming matches on Wednesday. Australia plays France. First of 3 test matches. Kickoff is at 2000, pretty much like 8 p.m. in Brisbane. 3 a.m. my time, so I'm probably not going to be able to watch it. It's in Brisbane. First of 3 test matches between France and Australia. It's a French tour of Australia. No Antoine Dupont or Roman Niedermack for France this series. They were playing in their top 14 teams, and by the time they finished up, by the time their club season ended, it just didn't give them enough time to quarantine and to train for the series against Australia. So no Niedermack, no Dupont. However, Luis Carbonell will be a player to watch. He's going to be the 10. He's going to be replacing Niedermack essentially for this series. Somebody you should watch out for if you're going to be watching this series. I'm excited to see how well he does, basically leading the team if you're France. And in Australia, it's led by Michael Hooper. It's a younger-ish Australian team, but for the most part, a lot of regulars there. They're trying to get some momentum after their rugby championship last year. So that's going to be 3 a.m. my time, 8 p.m. in Brisbane. That's on Wednesday. And the Cell C Sharks will be playing the British Irish Lions on Wednesday. Local kickoff time at 7 p.m. in Johannesburg, 10 a.m. my time in Vancouver. Only match for the Lions this week as Saturday's game versus the Vodacom Bulls is now postponed due to COVID. There's some outbreaks of COVID-19 within the Sharks, within the Springboks, within Georgia now. Scotland's obviously got it. Scotland was supposed to play Georgia, and Scotland had to cancel that match. So COVID is a bit of a concern. I don't know if it'll affect any of the British and Irish Lions versus Springboks games. I think that's what they're trying to avoid, but we'll see. Nothing is conclusive. Nothing is for sure yet either. It's just Saturday's game against the Bulls is now postponed. Tom Curry, Josh Navidi, and Adam Beard will be making their Lion debuts. Kerwin Bosch is a player to watch for the Sharks. He led the Sharks in scoring in their Rainbow Cup South Africa series. So it should be interesting to watch. I'm expecting another Lions blowout, but we'll see how the Sharks do. Maybe they'll make it more competitive than 56-19 or 56-14. I'm not counting on it. We'll see, though. Should be another interesting game. That's Ian Review Sports on Tuesday, July 6th. Be sure to check out our podcast coming out tomorrow. And then I'll also later on this week have an Ian Preview Sports where I preview the upcoming rugby matches. That's probably going to come out Thursday, I'm guessing, as a Springboks Georgia game. I think it's going to be played on Friday. As of right now, I haven't heard it being postponed, but we'll see. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. If you have anything you want to say or you want to rip on me, do so in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks again for watching. Peace out.